Oh my god, can you fucking believe it? It's the Rick and Morty episode.
We're actually doing
We're
this.
We're
actually going to do this and not just suddenly go off on a tangent on some other thing and then promise to do it at another time.
We
don't know yet.
No, we don't know that yet. No.
But we're actually, like, the title of the episode is the Rick and Morty episode.
No, just kidding. It's the Robot Chicken episode.
We're going to talk... It's like we bring Seth Green in. Alright, hey guy. That's not even his voice. That's him doing Chris.
He does voices.
Yeah, he's basically... Seth Green is here doing all of our voices. We're just kind of sitting, watching... It's crazy. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. The miracle that this man can do with his mouth. That sounded weird, but it's 100% correct.
Oh my gosh.
But we're doing Rick and Morty. We're doing Rick and Morty. We talked about it. This is episode 12. And we've talked about it since the first episode.
Yeah, we were all like, Rick and Morty, let's do Rick and Morty.
Yep.
Just kidding, it's the Hey Arnold podcast.
Well, it was like, so what had happened was
we should talk more about Hey Arnold.
We wanted to talk about Rick and Morty, and then we realized, like, well, season 3 is about to premiere. And then we didn't want to do the Rick and Morty episode during the season. So here we are, 12 episodes, 12 weeks later, 3 months.
We've actually been doing this for 12 weeks. I'm kind of impressed with
episode 12.
Well, I had to leave on episode 10, but that's just because
that's okay. You still get credit.
Yeah.
You still get partial
we
credit.
switched on the recording days,
yeah,
so that's
exactly.
not my fault.
But episode 12, 3 months later, Rick and Morty season 3 is over. We can talk about it now. Beware of spoilers. We're going to talk about everything. I'm really excited about doing the Rick and Morty episode. I don't know why I'm as excited as I am, but like I'm super
Sean, are you excited about this, Sean?
I'm really
Sean,
excited
how excited are you about this, Sean?
Like,
Sean.
At least 11
Sean,
excited.
you need to calm your tits down.
My tits will remain in an upright position because I am beautiful.
Sean,
and
it's
can tell
looking
me
very
otherwise.
nipply in here over how excited you are. You gotta put that, Sean, you gotta, put that away. Sean, stop. Sean, do you want a jacket? Sean.
I'm a little scared. I'm a little scared as to what's happening right now.
Is Ned here? Is that what's going
on? So, alright, we're going to start off with the basics. Favorite episode. Oh, by the way, welcome Conan. I forgot to mention.
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
Conan's here.
I'm here too.
Conan's been keeping up with Rick and Morty as well, so we thought we'd invite him on. So, hi Conan, how you doing?
What's up?
Hello.
Sammich is here too.
Alive.
Sam, nobody cares about you. It's really about Conan.
Yeah.
It's not even about me. I don't want to say that in some sort of conceited way.
The episodes with Conan here is actually my favorite because Conan always brings drinks.
Exactly.
Conan always buys us super awesome food like carne asada fries, and if you don't know what carne asada fries are, Sean,
everybody knows what carne asada fries. You literally it's fries and carne asada.
Up north, they didn't know what those.
You could kill yourself.
Wait,
north of LA, people don't know what they are.
Is that true?
Yeah.
I figured that's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, when I was living up in the Santa Rosa, San Francisco area, nobody knew what carne asada fries were.
They're the most delicious things on the planet.
Yeah.
It's French fries, carne asada, cheese, and guacamole.
You could put sour cream on it and pico
I don't know why you would.
Another thing, California burritos.
Yeah, it's a California burrito without the fucking burrito part.
No, they're not California burritos. It's a San Diego. It's a
San Diego thing, yeah.
That's right. Because I don't know.
Go to LA and ask for a California burrito. They look at you like, what
no
the
idea
fuck
what
is
you're
wrong
talking
with
Some places in LA have California burritos.
But they're from San Diego.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, we actually have a very Mexican, San Diego. We have a very California, San Diegan type Mexican food here too.
We do. I think San Diego's Mexican food is the best Mexican food
outside of Mexico.
Yeah.
No, I think it's better than Mexico
because there's no dogs.
I mean, that's part of it.
You don't have to worry about drinking the water.
Yeah, it's Mexican food without the risk, I guess is what I'm saying.
I know you're Filipino, but you're lucky you're brown.
Whoa! Why you gotta bring race into it? We're just talking about Mexican.
I am white.
No.
On your tattoo.
You're not. So, alright, starting off right off the bat, favorite episode of the new season.
Pickle Rick!
Pickle Rick?
See,
Probably.
I don't know. See, okay,
there's too many
when I
good
first
episodes.
saw the animatic for Pickle Rick, I thought, they didn't say it was Pickle Rick. I thought it was Weenie Rick. I thought it was like a hot dog.
Uh-huh.
So I was just like, yeah, Weenie Rick. And then I find out it's a pickle. And for some reason, I'm just disappointed. I love pickles, though. Gotta get that sweet brine.
Well, that's such a weird way to phrase that.
Love pickles. Gotta get that sweet brine.
Get that sweet brine.
Every time I go to get a pickle, my aunt bought me
Wait,
pickles
where do you
last
go
night.
just to get a pickle?
Pickle.
You could go. Well, you could get them at like the corner store, but I got like a jar of pickles. I don't just get
There's a
one
corner
pickle.
store that sells just like, oh, hey, just
Yeah, like 7-Eleven corner stores.
you buy one single pickle.
No, I said I bought a jar. I buy jars. I don't buy one single
I was
pickle,
gonna
but
say,
I know that they're
They do
there.
sell them in like the giant mountain pickles.
Yeah,
That's
in a
ridiculous.
bag. Pickles
They
in a
don't-
bag.
They don't usually taste all that amazing.
No, they're not.
No, because it doesn't sound appetizing.
Or they're like a Hot Mama or whatever. What's that brand? Hot Mama.
Bahama Mama?
No, it's like Hot Mama, and it's like a spicy pickle.
Are you guys even saying words right now?
Oh yes.
Okay,
Bingo
so
bongo.
what was it about the pickle, the weenie Rick that you didn't like?
The fact that he wasn't a weenie.
That was all it was.
That's all it was, because like I was just like, oh, it's a pickle. If I had realized it was a pickle beforehand, I would have liked it a lot more. But I was just like, all I see are like these weenies, like from Cow and Chicken. Remember those like nasty looking weenies?
You are the most shallow person I've ever met. The episode is great. I love that he was a pickle, but I thought he was gonna be a weenie. Therefore, I hate it.
Yes, I didn't hate it. I didn't say that. You guys are putting words in my mouth.
But yeah, okay, I didn't like it because I thought he was a weenie. Because he was a cylindrical object without color, and they chose the wrong one. Right? What the hell are you doing on your phone? We're recording a podcast.
Because I'm trying to look up the other episode names.
I don't care about the names. Just tell me what happened.
I was like hard pressed to actually really choose one.
Yeah, they're all super
I really like the
good.
Mad Max one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was episode 1, wasn't it?
No, that's episode 2.
Was
Episode
it-
two?
was it
Okay.
one?
Episode 1 is class where they.
Oh
do
yeah,
the
that's
shouties.
when
The
the
Szechuan
April
sauce.
Fools. Yeah, they
Yeah.
had the April Fools during. We've been
get it while you
freaking them
can.
out.
When you can.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they're
Speaking of the
coming out with
Szechuan
it.
sauce,
One day.
When
one
is it?
day.
When is it?
the 7th of
7th.
October,
7th of
and
October.
only at some McDonald's though, so it's not gonna
It's be
be at
super
everyone.
limited.
Man,
There's probably gonna be quite a few here in San Diego. I'm betting because
I'm
San Diego's such a
shrek it
big
down.
city.
yeah.
And like when we say that we're from San Diego, it's just like San Diego is not necessarily the city. San Diego is a giant county.
Yes. So San Diego, it's like the
National City, El
Yeah.
Cajon.
San Diego has suburbs
Santee.
and commercial areas and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, whereas like up where I was, it'll just be if you
Like
say
I
you're from
live,
San
I
Francisco.
live in Santee Lakeside, which are two different cities, but they're both suburbs
Yeah,
of San Diego.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Besides, kind of more rural town.
So it's easier just to say I'm from San Diego because nobody knows.
Yeah,
nobody
exactly.
outside of San Diego is
Knows
going to
the
know.
area.
where
Yeah,
it
and
is.
if they do know, like, oh, hey, you're from San Diego, what part? That's when you give them your
Right.
sub area,
Yeah,
your suburb.
basic human communication.
Yeah.
Yep.
So like if somebody tells me,
So October 7th.
Yeah.
I imagine they'll probably have some here. You're right, because we do have a ton
we
of
have a
people.
ton of fucking people, and I'm guessing here, LA, they'll probably even have more in LA, even though LA is smaller.
Oh, I
than San
guarantee
Diego.
it'll be in LA.
Yeah. So and then probably a couple of other places here and there, but definitely the larger areas.
I'm going to try and track it the fuck down. I don't
know.
even eat McDonald's. And
Yeah.
I don't even care.
I know Conan and I were thinking about going to get some chicken nuggets from McDonald's and
Get
then
a
buying
nugget on.
Yeah, man.
and then buying a bottle of Szechuan sauce
Mhm.
from the grocery store.
yeah.
but then we're like,
It's not
I
the
don't
same.
want to eat like 40
Yeah.
McNuggets over
not
the
the same.
air.
Yeah, it's not the same. If I had to choose my favorite episode of the new season, and that is a really difficult
It's
choice.
really hard.
Yeah. I really like the Vindicators. I really enjoy the Vindicator episode that's basically based off Saw.
1 million times
Yeah,
better.
1 million ants is like the coolest character. I have only lost 437 ants.
My queen
Wait.
is laying them down.
I am back up to 1 million ants. I love it. I love that episode because it's such a subversion of expectations. Because the entire, like, the lead into that episode is, oh man, we're going to have a Vindicator's adventure. And then you go, and like, the Vindicator happens off camera because Rick gets drunk one night. And then...
It's bad when Rick can be totally blackout drunk
Mm-hmm.
and make you look bad.
Also, Noop
you're
Noop might
drunk.
be one of the best characters.
Who the fuck is Noob Noob?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
I think Noob is actually the same species as Mr. Poopy Butthole.
Probably.
He
Did
looks
you
like
see?
it.
Did you notice in I think it was Morty's Mind Blowers?
He proposed to him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Morty and Mr. Poopy Butthole had a relationship
And
that Morty asked to be removed.
And then what was it? Was it, the finale, or was it Russ and Rick? No, the finale where Mr. Poopy Butthole's like, woo wee, I
Yeah.
got
That's,
Had a
Baby.
baby.
but notice he didn't get married to Morty.
Yes.
So
And they look just
like
him.
I don't know if it's just an offshoot because they don't typically do just offshoot jokes like that. Like that means something. You know what I mean? Like Evil Morty was a
Yeah, Evil Morty came back.
well, yeah, but I mean like he wasn't just an off joke. He wasn't just like, oh, they're actually doing things with Evil Morty now.
Yeah. Which we figured was going to happen anyway.
Well,
I
we
was
know
happy
when.
though. I was super happy to have Evil Morty back.
Yes, that episode, by the way, is one of my favorites of the new season.
Yeah.
It has Rick
Oh,
and Morty
yeah.
in it. I guess it has Rick and Morty in it the most, but it doesn't have C-137 Rick and Morty in it, like,
It
at
has
all.
the most Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
That was actually probably my favorite episode, just thinking, but I wanted to start off with, like, the first couple of episodes and then go on.
Disgruntled cop Morty.
Well, so
He's fat.
it's super cool. Like, okay, so there's a lot of attention to detail in Rick and Morty. Like, I don't know if you've noticed, but like,
Yeah.
Morty always fastens his seatbelt, and Rick doesn't fasten his seatbelt ever. And then when they do the role reversal with cop Morty with partner Rick, Rick fastens his seatbelt, Morty doesn't.
Yeah, I noticed that.
I mean, it's little details like that that really make me appreciate the show. It's my favorite show. I'm just going to go ahead and say it is my favorite show
Yeah.
of the past probably 10 years.
It's one of my favorites. I have several, but
Right.
this is definitely, like, on my top 5.
It's the writing on it for me is so brilliant. It's so like so many good sci-fi stories that I've never even could even come close to thinking of. Like in
Unity.
season 2 they do Unity.
Unity was, like, okay, I was really into Rick and Morty. I wouldn't, like, watch it every single night that it would air, but as soon as the Unity episode came on, which was kind of late in season 2, I was just
Yeah.
like, holy
The
fuck.
Unity episode is the episode I show to people to like
Yeah.
sell them on. The
I did
show.
that too, and then finally people were like, why didn't you tell me to watch this earlier? I'm like, I did.
Yeah.
So if I tell you to watch
Yeah.
something, mofo better watch it because I like good shit.
It's so good. The Unity episode, the whole concept of
A hive mind.
dating a hive mind, of what that would be like. I even know about hive minds. Like there's one in Halo. Like hive minds are actually like actively in my brain because I've thought about them before.
Are you
But
part of a hive mind?
yeah, his name's Gravemind. He's cool. But I've never even would have thought of making a story like that. And I write stories. I do. I'm a writer. I do a lot of like Dungeons and Dragons storylines and just short stories and stuff. I do a lot of that. That particular idea, I know would have never crossed my mind.
Yeah.
They do a lot of them like that. They do the dogs in the Lawnmower Dog in episode I think there's 2 or 3 of the first season, where they do the dogs become sentient.
Yeah, that's the second
Testicle
episode
summer.
Yeah.
of season 1.
That is
Where are my testicles, Summer? Where are my testicles?
they were taken. Where are they? Well, that's a really intense line of questioning. Okay, so there's been kind of a story arc with every season. Like,
Oh, yeah.
not necessarily a story arc of the season, but like there's been a dynamic that has changed.
Yeah, this was a bit of a darker, especially in the beginning.
Way darker.
Way-
And they did warn us. To be fair, they did warn us.
There's actually apparently a fan theory going around somewhere on the internet, and apparently it's so accurate to what Justin Roiland wants to do. He's just like trying really hard to keep it hidden.
What is it?
I don't know.
Well, why would you
bring
even
it up?
bring that up?
Because I want people,
God damn
I
it,
want us
Sam.
all to just like start looking for that and be
God.
like, oh my gosh, yes.
So, so here's kind of been my take on each season. So like the first season is Rick is kind of just an outlier to the entire family. Like Rick kind of does his own thing and then brings Morty in.
Wasn't
Yeah.
the first season basically like just after he came back to the
Right,
family?
exactly.
So he's just kind of like there.
And then second season is Rick being a part of the family and
Really starting to care.
well, not only
bit
care,
more.
but
Taking
like
over as the head of the
Beth
family,
and
basically.
Jerry start getting estranged,
Yeah.
and like they try and. But while all this entire time, Rick is an active member of the family, and he's less of an outlier in that season. And then this season is he's taken over as the patriarch entirely, and Jerry is the outlier,
Yeah.
and Jerry just kind of shows up. And now, with the end of the season, Jerry's back, and now Rick is again the outlier. They've kind of gone back to what season 1 was.
I think he's going to be even more so now, especially since and Dan Harmon and Justin Roiland have both said that this Beth and Jerry's relationship was actually a lot better before Rick came back.
Right. Yeah.
It was really good. They had a really good relationship.
It was rock solid. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Rick came by.
I still like seeing their toxic relationship thing.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That's a good one.
Beth is a giant
monster.
spider.
The giant, she's like a xenomorph spider thing, and Jerry's a slug.
Jerry's just like this fat, pathetic-looking slugworm thing. It's like,
so good.
Do you remember a show called The Herculoids?
No.
9.
They had these they look like living like tofu or like flan, kind of with big black eyes, and they go. That's how I pictured Jerry.
Oh gosh, and Jerry, the whirly durly concept. What was it? The whirly durly conspiracy episode.
Oh yeah.
Whirly Durly.
That's
Whirly and the Durly.
That's the one where both. It's the Jerry and Rick episode.
Yeah, it's the
Right.
Jerry and
Jerry,
Rick.
Rick,
Oh
Jerry
my
Rick
God.
Adventure.
That episode stands out because they straight murder a child.
Yes.
Yeah, that too.
Unironically.
There's no consequences. They
Yeah.
come back to life, and then all of
Yeah.
a sudden,
It's such a little
So-
that happens and then they just move on.
So Jerry and Rick takes Jerry to this resort spa type thing, and there's this force field around it so that you can't die. There's an immortality field. And there are these two little kids, brother and sister, and they're just like running around shooting each other. One of them dies, and then it's usually the boy shooting the girl. She dies, and then she just comes back to life, and they start shooting each other again. Well, the
It's
force
so
field
good.
goes down at one point, and the little boy shoots his sister, only she doesn't regenerate.
And then they just move on.
And then they just move on.
It's like
I don't even. What was her name? It's like Lily.
I don't care.
I
It doesn't
think
matter.
the girl, he said Lisa,
Lisa.
and the boy reminded me of Millhouse. Just looking at him.
That's
Just
depressing.
because he said Lisa.
Millhouse would be a much better character if he just got over Lisa.
He does in one episode. Like, not to move on like from Rick and Morty to Simpsons, but like Simpsons is my jam.
Yeah.
There are episodes where Millhouse moves on and Lisa freaks the fuck out.
Remember the episode where Millhouse went to juvie and he becomes like super ripped, and then he becomes like a follower of Christ, and he's got like a giant cross
I do
tattoo
remember
on his chest.
God, that's
I was
is
saved
weird.
by Jesus Christ.
Simpsons
It's like,
is
how are
weird.
you not Ned Flanders' child?
right. I don't want to deviate from Rick and
Yeah,
Morty.
so we're going
We
back.
have so much to
I'm
talk
sorry.
about.
I just wanted to say that's what it made me think about.
Well, I
But
actually,
no, I do love that they have little jokes like that.
yeah.
That like you don't have to find funny if you don't want to, and they don't spend a whole lot of time on it. But if you're like me and you like that humor, that's like the best part of the show. Is those little tiny like, oh, we accidentally murdered a child. All right, moving on.
See, I was just like, oh, kid, and you were laughing your ass off. I
was
like,
laughing hysterically
I like kids,
when that
so.
happened.
That episode kind of like, I don't know why it kind of got to me. It kind of reminded me of a few of like my exes, I guess, or maybe even
why?
myself.
There's no
Because
relation.
he's just like,
There's no relationship in that entire episode.
because Rick was talking about Jerry, how Jerry is like, you're a pathetic piece of shit, and then because you know what's wrong with you, and then you complain
He's a
and
predator.
cry
Uh-huh.
to my 16-year-old daughter, and you basically got her to marry you because she felt sorry for you, and I'm just like,
Yes.
I've been in that relationship.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dark places.
Dark places.
Hello.
I don't think the next season will be as dark. I don't think it will be.
I think it's gonna have to deal with a lot more of Rick's personal shit.
Yeah, I think Rick is gonna have a super big arc.
And I remember when season 2 first came out and people were wondering who Beth's mom is. I will probably get a little more story with her, especially since we saw her or did not see her in the first episode. We'll see where that kind of goes.
Yeah, well, I'm excited to see. I mean, like, again, we gotta wait now, fucking like 2 years, 2 or 3
Really
years
long
before
I
season
thought
time.
this
4.
was gonna be there's gonna be more episodes. So.
Well, that's what Dan Harmon wants to
Yeah.
try a 16 episode season as opposed to a 10.
Yeah, I thought
which
that
would be
there was
nice.
supposed to be 13 episodes instead of just 10.
10,
Yeah.
unfortunately. Animation's hard.
It is. That's why I say I do it, but I don't.
So, of all of Rick and Morty, of everything that it's come, what's your favorite thing that Rick and Morty has like made a reality? So, like, I mean, like, let me say that a different way. Like, something that Rick and Morty has caused. the impact Rick and Morty has had. Does that make sense? You guys understand what I'm saying?
Like Conan.
Like the Szechuan sauce. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like
jeez.
being able to bring that because of the impact that it has. I don't know. What do you
Well,
that's
that's the only thing that it's really brought back so far.
I don't know. Well, I mean, like, there's this whole revival now of adult cartoons, and Adult Swim is now back in a superhero because they didn't have a whole lot.
Yeah.
But they had, like, Robot Chicken, and that was, like,
Adult
a
Swim
big draw.
was making more money just instead of signing on a bunch of animators to create new shows. They were making more money just by taking shows that have been on forever and just doing reruns, and they made their money that way.
Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
Yeah, Squidbillies, stuff like that.
Squidbillies is
Mr.
amazing.
Pickles is actually fairly new. I think might have been the last show to come from that.
I have not watched that.
Mr. Pickles?
No,
I haven't watched it either.
It's up your alley. It's up your alley, Sean.
Yeah.
Fuck. How is it that I've seen Mr. Pickles but you have?
I don't have cable.
Oh.
I don't actively watch TV. Like I have my shows. Here's my routine. I pay for Netflix, I pay for Hulu, and I pay for YouTube. And I do YouTube because there was a YouTube Red show that came out that I wanted to watch. So that was the whole reason I bought it, and now I have YouTube ads free. But that's my TV. That's the extent of my TV. So if it's not on there, it's difficult for me to find it. Like I'm one season behind on Archer. Like Archer is one of my favorite shows, but that gets put out the year after a season finishes.
Yeah.
So I'm now one season behind because that's just what's on Netflix.
Yeah.
Now with Rick and Morty, I made special occasion where my mom has cable at her house, so every weekend I would drive to her house.
Yeah.
And watch it there at 11:30 at night, despite having work at 8 a.m. the next morning. Flagrantly irresponsible on my part, doing that every week for 10 weeks. But, what are you going to do?
No, I'm really responsible with me staying up to 4 and having to be at work at 6:30.
Yeah, well, at that point, you just don't even sleep.
Sometimes I just kind of, I'll record something and then I'll just binge it on a weekend. Like what me
But
and
I can't record anything.
True. Ow.
And, and my other worry, I'm on the internet a lot. So, especially with Rick and Morty, I was worried about spoilers the following day.
Especially with our friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. I don't blame anybody for posting stuff about Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
I've been having to wait a day.
Yeah.
Because when I watch it on, they're really good about it. It's like up within a couple of hours of the show being aired, but because work and stuff,
I was a little.
I usually have to wait till Monday to see it.
Right.
Yeah, I was a little late on one episode, and that was episode 8, the Morty with his memories.
The Mind Blowers.
Yeah, the
Morty's
Mind Blowers episode, and the only thing that I really saw, spoiler wise, was somebody posting on Facebook was that one flick followed by another flick, and then you went back and flipped the switch back up.
Well, so that's an interesting episode to have spoiled for you because it really couldn't.
No,
somebody would have to spoil
nice.
all the individual. It's like the same thing as interdimensional cable.
Yeah.
If you watch the show in its entirety, there's so many little bits. It's hard for somebody to spoil it for you.
I love the interdimensional cable though. I didn't really get into improv until I got into my acting class, and then I watched those episodes, and they were fucking amazing.
Yes. Oh my god.
I got some of my best ideas for just what the fuck are we doing for animation shorts just by doing improv in a car for 8 hours driving.
Well, and that's what I love so much about those particular episodes is it really is you can tell Justin Roiland in the booth.
Yeah, Justin Roiland.
Yeah,
just kind of going
laughing at his own jokes. And I just love it when that comes through.
Yeah.
Like when they do the Gazorb field. When it ends with, give me my fucking enchilada.
You piece of shit. White. Male. Just fuck.
No, that's an episode you couldn't really have spoiled for you, I think.
No, but if honestly though, if somebody's gonna spoil interdimensional cable for me, I will fuck your shit up.
Well, again,
because I don't want that stuff spoiled for me.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's very difficult to spoil.
Yeah.
Somebody would have to give you a summation of all of the bits that they do.
They basically have to just tell you the entire episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So you could get away with going on the internet after that episode. But something with the Vindicator episode where somebody spoils oh no, it's actually, Rick being a Saw game master.
Do you think that the Vindicators were Guardians of the Galaxy though?
I'm pretty sure they're probably based on it.
Yeah, it felt like to me, for some reason, Guardians and Fantastic Four. I don't know why I was getting the Fantastic Four.
Probably because there's 4 of them.
Probably.
She could fly, kind
Was
of.
there 4?
Yeah, there's 4.
There were 5.
4 or 5.
No, the
Ghost
croc, ghost train,
Oh, I forget about the
fancy
croc.
pants dude.
Million ants, 1 million ants.
Yeah, 1 million ants, and then
the main guy.
yeah, and the chick.
Yeah, I imagine it's
Who gets
probably
away.
got.
She's gonna come back.
Again,
Blacked.
maybe not because of how nonchalantly they let her leave.
Yeah.
Being like, yeah, Morty, fucking 30 people try and kill me a week. I don't
I end up
care.
getting high with half of them.
Yeah, I ended up getting high with half of them. So,
That was a fun episode.
I do, I really
Morty,
do.
at that point, Morty, that was episode 2? Or
no, that's like episode 5.
Oh, okay. Well, at that point, though, Morty, we really get to see a shift in Morty, too. Whereas season 1, he's just like, where the hell are we going, Rick? And 2, he seems to kind of get, like, a little more confidence, like he knows what he's doing. Here, he's just like, I'm fucking tired of your shit,
You
Rick.
will kind of see that he's kind of done
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
Rick's shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that all started during the Purge episode. When
I like
he's
that
like,
episode.
fuck
He
it.
just
and
kind
then
of
he just
broke.
Well, that was the thing. That was the moment when he was just like, he's not really Morty anymore.
Yeah, there's, like, a theory that Morty's actually Rick, which is...
Yeah. Or,
Opens
no,
up
no,
a
no,
whole
no.
weird
that
timeline.
Rick is actually a Morty.
Yeah. Which is, like...
Cool.
And I don't think it's gonna be that way, but we'll see how it goes.
Well,
'Cause then
there is
he-
that
And he'll
one
be
Rick
his own
that looks
grandfather.
like a
But
Morty.
then he's gotta fuck his grandma, and then his mom
Not
is his
necessarily.
sister.
Time is relative.
Yeah, but it's still weird.
Just to be clear, that wasn't time travel.
It's
Right.
not
They
time
make a
travel.
big deal of the fact that it's not time travel, which
Yeah.
leads us in. We're about to hit the 30-minute mark.
Oh my gosh.
And this is at the 30-minute mark. I wanted to bring up an age-old question, and you had mentioned time travel, so it's a good thing. Is Beth a clone? Throwing it out there. Is Beth a clone?
Do you
Right
want
up
an
to
actual
bombshell?
answer? Because I can probably.
I know. I think the same answer you do.
Yes, because.
I want to get
what,
Andrew's opinion.
what does Conan think?
What does Conan?
I don't think she's a clone.
Why?
I just feel it.
What makes you
Oh,
feel?
you just feel
I
it.
just
I don't feel it.
Is it the fact that she was like looking at her family and the pictures of herself?
well,
and
I just
everything
got
on the
this feeling
fridge?
when Rick was giving her the option
Right.
of having a clone made of herself and just taking off. The way she kind of came back, she's like, I know what I'm gonna do. Just kind of felt to me like she decided that she was gonna stay.
Oddly, I think it brought her and Rick closer together.
I did. Well, that's the weird part.
Yeah.
And before I give what I think or anything like that, I just want to talk about the question before we just lay out an
Feel
answer,
it
if
in
that
my
makes
beard,
sense.
man.
There is a moment. So after that question is laid to her, do you want to go explore, go do what I do, and be a clone of you? Then she is super close with Rick. They hug, which never really happens, and she's very affectionate towards her children.
She always kind of wanted to be closer to Rick, though. You could totally tell.
Oh yeah, well they're basically the same. Is
Yeah.
the thing? It's just she tried to
The
remain
part of
grounded.
The whole thing for me, I think, though, her realization of how much of like her father she was.
Yeah,
Is
definitely.
And that's
It's a
another
big deal.
And that's another thing. She realizes just how much of her father she is, but if she were to leave, even though there would be a clone of her, she would be just like her dad and become even more so like her dad. I think she would become a lot more bitter, sarcastic, and a bit colder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's basically the option he gives her
Yeah.
is, do you want to be like me or do you want to be like you?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of that's what that said to me, at least.
Yeah.
My answer, I don't think she's a clone.
I don't think she's a clone either.
I don't think she's a clone. Because there's the one big fan theory going around that focuses on time.
Yeah.
Where they make a big deal about how Rick doesn't time travel.
Mm-hmm.
And there are, throughout that episode of their daily events, there are clocks.
There are clocks.
And that help you keep an accurate
timeline.
account of the time. And when they have, and they also talk about how long it takes to make a clone. So logically, by the time they would have met Beth or Summer and Morty, it would have been nighttime if it was a
It
clone.
would have been like 9:30 almost time.
Yeah, it would have been nighttime, just because of how long it takes to make the clone. But it was in the day. They met in the day, and I forget the reason why it couldn't be the next day.
It was the next day. So, okay. Morty and Summer have a weekend with Jerry.
Right. Oh, that's right. They were coming
Yeah.
back from their weekend with Jordy.
So
With
it
Jerry.
was Friday, and then Saturday happens, and there's actually a scene where Morty, Summer, and Jerry are all in the car, and it's nighttime.
Mhm.
So go ahead and say it's Saturday the next morning, which is when Tommy's dad is supposed to be executed.
That was Sunday.
Sunday. Okay, so
No, so their weekend starts on Saturday.
Okay,
their
so
weekend
it's
starts on
Saturday.
Saturday.
So we know a night goes by, and then Rick goes ahead and when he's cloning Tommy, he says it takes about 3 hours to clone Tommy. They then clone Tommy after 3 hours, and apparently, according to I think it was Dan Harmon, Rick and Morty, I guess, is stationed in. It takes place in Seattle.
Seattle.
So the only place, canonically, the only place where Washington actually has like a lethal injection vicinity is in, I think it's Walla Walla, which is 4 hours away.
Mm-hmm.
So they would have to drive 4 hours all the way to Walla Walla, stop everything that's going on, and then drive all the way back.
And back. And then when they get back...
Which is another 4 hours. So you got 8 hours.
Right. And then when they get back, is when Rick offers the clone to Beth.
Which is when they get back, that's about, I think they said 6:30.
Mm-hmm.
It's about 6:30.
Mm-hmm.
If we were to add on 3 hours for that, if Beth was a clone, then it would be about 9:30 at night.
Which would be a night. And that was met during the day. When the kids got back from Jerry's.
Yeah, when they went to go get pizza and stuff like that. And then Rick at the very end, it's still light. Rick goes.
It's a whole lot of paying attention to really specific details in a show that really is just supposed to be funny.
Yeah.
That's basically what's going on. But all of that, there's Matt Pat did a game theory, or a film theory.
Yeah,
about
I saw
it.
that.
And he came to the same conclusion, which is Beth is not
a clone.
Now, that being said, what if, and hear me out here, what if Beth wanted to make a clone to go out and have that experience, but she decides to stay?
I could see that being a possibility too.
That's kind of interesting. And then maybe she could even get her memories later, as we saw from...
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. She remains in control. The clone is not in control, but the clone goes out, has the experiences, because they've already done the memory stuff where they can load memories into people. Now, for the record, I have not read this anywhere. This is me just thinking about it. But she could go and have those experiences and then extract the memories and then give them to Beth, so she could have remained and then have the explorative memories on top of her being at home memories.
And then later on,
which sounds like something Beth would do.
Yeah, that does. And then kill off the clone later.
Yeah, and then the clone gets self-aware, and then that becomes a whole thing.
Yeah, so we'll kind of see. We won't know until next season, possibly, or probably
2.5 years.
I'm guessing. Yeah, I'm guessing 2.5, because like people or most studios, they tend to leave those open for like a whole season and maybe give you a snippet the season after it happens, and then it happens like 2 years.
Like that's what happened with Evil Morty.
Evil Morty, like,
Which
I figured.
Behind schedule and everything, always arguing and shit.
What?
Morty's mind blowers.
Oh, Morty's. Oh, okay. I thought you were like accusing us of being behind schedule. I'm like,
you probably are.
Summer talking to Rick and Morty after they woke up after she.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm always on schedule. Wink as I wake up at 11:30 in the morning.
Yeah, I wake up at 6:30. I got work and responsibilities and kids. So
yeah.
What are you gonna do?
Woo!
All right.
Watch cartoons.
We're gonna go a little bit of a tangent, just real quick, just because I got a question I want to ask you guys. If you had 2 children, a boy and a girl, you could, and your significant other would let you name them whatever you want. What would you name your children?
Oh man,
I know these are big questions I throw out here on the Cheese.
You never really know what names you really want to name your children, or how many people you hate until you have a child you gotta name.
Well, exactly, yeah. So like, I've thought about this a lot growing up, just because I'm excited for kids. I want kids, so.
When I was younger, I wanted one of my kids' middle names to be fuck, like P-H-U-K.
P-H-U-Q?
Yeah, because I was such a punk rocker. Sammy's a punk rocker.
Like, I've heard Luke and Leia is a good one.
Fucking Sora and Roxas.
Sora and Roxas be good.
Don't fucking do that to your children. If you love them, you will not do that.
No. So I want to name my firstborn.
Jamie and Cersei.
Oh, don't even go there. Don't even tempt fate with that shit.
Fred and George.
Fred and George would be good. I would have. They'd have to be twins. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to do it.
Ron and Ginny.
Yeah, that'd be good. Merry and Pippin. I want to do. I want my firstborn son to be named the Witch King of Angmar.
Yes.
Because like I want you to picture this scenario in your mind. So my kid's in class, just doing his homework, and there's a substitute teacher. Substitute teacher is doing a roll call, right? Seeing who's there. Susie, are you here? Brian, are you here? The Witch King of Angmar? And then my son would be like, right here, boy. That's how I assume my prepubescent child will sound like.
It sounds like you trying too hard to be a pupubescent
Exactly.
child.
That's how I envision my child. But I just think about that scenario.
Orgasmatron.
Orgasmatron.
Your kid's gonna get taken away from you so quick.
What?
It's the name of a song.
I have seen kids named
By Motorhead.
Destiny. I've seen kids named
Starscream.
Steve.
Destiny.
I've seen kids named Carl. Why can't we have an Orgasmatron? You tell me right now, with your modern sensibilities, why we can't have an Orgasmatron rise through the ranks, become president one day.
And
build
everyone to be his friend.
Look, I named Sean, and I was made fun of. Like for stupid shit. Sean is not easy to make into a longer name. Like I've heard Jonathan a lot, which I kind of like. It's kind of endearing. My sister just called me Shonald, which is my new favorite. But like I would get like Shawnantha, like Samantha. I would get like Shawnika or something, like trying to make my name into
Shawnice.
Shauna would be as close as you get, but I'm just like, now you just sound like you're stuttering after saying my name. But like, you get made fun of no matter what your name is, so why not get made fun of for something cool?
Yeah, that's true.
Starscream, dude.
Skeletor.
Starscream and Optimus. Behold,
my child better grow up.
Skeletor's breakfast burrito.
My child better grow up to be famous if I give him an awesomely cool, funny name. Like that kid better be a comedian and have a good sense of humor.
Come on. Name your kid Starscream. Like, call him out.
Starscream.
He jumps up onto the table because you've trained him to do this.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Jump on the table, he's like, nah!
Turns into a toaster. It's a utilitarian child rearing situation.
No, you know what? I named my kids Morty and Hammer Morty.
Morty and Hammer Morty?
Hammer Morty.
Rest in peace, Hammer Morty.
I don't think Morty is a good name. I'm going to be honest. I don't think Morty is a good
I was actually thinking, it's like, okay, why did they name their kid Morty?
Well, I mean, you can look at Jerry and tell me he doesn't know about making bad decisions.
He was
Poor
a
Jerry.
walking bad decision.
He's Cyril.
I've never really considered. I mean, I have, but this is. I just wanted to tell the story of the Witch King of Angmar. Like, I want to name my daughter Alice, like from Alice in Wonderland. Mm-hmm. I also considered Lily for a while, but that's not funny.
Lily.
That's just cute. You know what I mean?
Lucifer.
Exactly. There we go. My child, my young daughter, will be the devil. So I imagine that's probably going to be true. To be perfectly honest. So
you're not mean enough.
I'm not mean enough?
No.
Sam, we are 12 episodes into this podcast, and I berate you consistently.
Do you?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Actually, it's actually quite the opposite. You actually do nothing but give me shit.
I know.
Conan knows. He listens to him. He knows I ain't telling a lie.
Kind of an asshole.
But so, both ways.
What's funny is what the audience doesn't know is when the mics are off, it's the exact reverse.
It really is. It's kind of like a persona. I'm going to be just a major dick to Sean.
So, like, her persona is major dick to Sean. My persona is nice guy who's just being shit on by his friend that's a girl. My real personality is, fuck you, Sam.
And I just kind of, like, sit there like, oh, okay.
Name your kid Macho Man.
Macho Man. I got
around the octagon.
Macho Man.
They don't have octagons in wrestling, do they?
Hey, Macho Man.
Wrong Macho
You
Man.
feeling okay?
Oh, every time I hear
top of the mountain.
Every time I hear Macho Man, I think of the Addams Family.
Snap it to a Slim Jim.
Hulkamania is my greatest sense. It is macho madness.
Oh, can I name my kid Ash Ketchum?
We're gonna watch Rick and Morty.
Or Gary motherfucking Oak. There we
Gary
go. Gary motherfucking
Gary
Oak. I'm gonna give that kid's 10. I'm gonna give that kid 10 badges just for
How
being
does this
born.
kid have all these cheerleaders, a fucking car, and 10 badges in a
Dude,
place that only has 8?
He's
That's
got
what
a
I'm
really
saying.
big dick.
He must.
He
You got-
must.
You look at Gary and tell me
What the fuck does his mom and dad
there's
do?
nobody that is that big of an asshole who doesn't flaunt his dick.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest
He's
with you.
got all these women. You know he's gotta
Yeah.
like plug
He
most
has
of them.
to.
Does he have an onyx?
Because he
hanging in his
doesn't
pants?
get
He's got
women.
rocks on it.
He doesn't get women with his award-winning personality.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's just
He's
a
got to
dick.
have just this massive throbbing heart to pump all that blood to his dick. His giant throbbing dick.
Oh my god. Had to evolve that Eevee into an Umbreon somehow.
Oh,
Oh my.
shit, son. Oh, dark type Pokemon penis jokes.
Actually, it's a friendly Pokemon joke because Eevee evolves with friendship.
How dare you? How dare you say those things to me?
Friendship and love.
How dare I
Speaking of love, I love how Brock is back and he's just like fucking Brock hard and chiseled. Yeah.
Dude, Brock's always been hot. I don't know what you're talking
I
about.
know.
Like, I'm
Fucking love Brock.
Did you see his Steelix?
Steelix is massive,
No,
and I'm
I
not
haven't
talking
watched
about
the show
his
yet.
dick.
I've only seen a clip, and I'm not talking about Brock's dick.
although, if you were to name it anything,
Yeah.
Onyx or Steelix would be a
But
good
his
thing to name
Steelix
dick.
is like the biggest
Brock
Steelix
hard.
ever.
Yeah.
I believe it.
It's bigger than Jasmine's
It's
from
just
Johto.
because he... Never mind, I'm not going to go there.
Yeah, when I was like 10 years old, I'm watching the Hoenn League, and Brock's got his shirt off because they're swimming. I'm like, has Brock always been this chiseled? Yes, the
He's a
answer
rock.
is yes. He is a fucking rock. Brock the Rock. That's why they call him
Look,
Brock.
you can drool
Brock,
over Brock
the
all
Rock
you want.
Johnson.
For me, I'll take my Misty every day of the week.
Fuck yeah.
That is,
She is the best girl.
Most kids my age, like, hit puberty thinking about Misty.
Do they really?
Oh yeah, okay. So I only say kids my age just because when
When you were
was
younger.
hitting puberty, 10, 11, that was when Pokemon was at its
Mhm.
height.
Yeah. Oh
This is-
gosh, so are there like people out there who are like thinking about like May and Dawn and
Oh, absolutely.
Are you,
what's
How do you know?
what's
Sorry,
the other
do you
There's
not
this
know
thing.
anything about
There's
Rule
this thing.
34?
there's
No,
this
I
thing
know
called
about
the
it.
internet.
But I mean, like, do you not know
They
anything
all need
about...
to just think about Misty.
So no. There's Rule 34 trends following certain topics.
yeah.
Right now, Pokemon, May was big for a long time.
Oh yeah. I liked
If
May.
you've noticed, like, with each new season or series, the girl companion gets hotter.
Not what's her name from Black and White. What's her name?
Okay.
I disagree just because
Like,
nobody is better than Misty.
Misty is the
Serena.
best.
Misty's the best.
Misty is the best.
Serena.
But they keep making the girls more, like,
Girly.
physically there. They're supposed to be like, 10, 11,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
May
But
had
that's
boobs.
definitely not 10 or
No.
11.
Yeah,
May had boobs,
she did.
unlike
Believe me.
Sumi.
I know.
Dawn.
And it's animated, therefore it's okay.
Meh.
No. May.
I really liked May when I was growing up, so I actually cried. I was like 9, 10 years old at the time when Misty left, and they had the really sad what makes me Misty most of all in our
Oh, yeah,
final
yeah.
curtain
I remember
call. Yeah, I like cried. Well, then they got May, and they were having a Pokemon Does America thing in Balboa Park here where a bunch of Pokemon fans got together and they were bringing out the new home Pokemon and people were trading cards. It was like the biggest fucking deal here. And I wanted to be May, but all I had was a red bandana, red jacket, and
Do you know-
shorts.
Now that I'm thinking about it,
Yeah.
I think the internet really truly respects Rick and Morty. Because there's, to my knowledge, not a whole lot of Rule 34 out there for Rick and Morty.
From my
Of course there's some. Like, of
That we've
course.
seen.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm not saying that it doesn't exist, but what I'm saying is it's not, like, Overwatch.
Yeah.
Overwatch has more porn of anything than I've ever seen ever.
Well, Overwatch does have some fan service.
Oh, absolutely. 100%. But, like, the amount of porn that has come from Overwatch is ridiculous.
The two that I've seen the most for is Overwatch and Mass Effect.
Mass Effect had a lot, too.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
mean, I don't necessarily look for fucking porn of
I
my
do.
favorite cartoon characters, but yeah,
I mean, I do.
people apparently give
Because
shit.
you're a girl.
I guess.
No, girls look at porn. Hey,
Girls look at
don't
porn.
bring that sexism in here. Girls
Rock the rock makes me rock hard.
They don't
Ha
look as
It makes me
often.
rock hard, and I'm straight as fuck.
Same.
No, but like, I don't know. I guess I think that is a
I think
sign
that
of the
you're
internet's
right.
respect of a show.
Which is odd. Okay, so this show is obviously geared more towards people, on
Our
Adult Swim,
age.
our age and
Yeah.
whatnot. And generally, I try and make sure, like, if I find out, like, my nieces or nephews are watching a show that they really shouldn't, like, regular show, and they're, like,
Mhm.
9 years old, even though
Mhm.
regular show's got a PG-13,
Yeah.
whatever, I'm just like, nah, can't watch this, because I know that they're going to get those jokes, or they're
Yep.
going to think they get those jokes and do it wrong.
Mhm.
So,
So really, you're just doing it for their benefit.
I'm doing it for their
So they don't
benefit.
make a fool out of
like, so
themselves.
this is what this joke was actually about.
Yeah, just pull down. You have a pull down chart that you push down in a pointer, and you'd be like, "Okay, we're gonna explain anatomy jokes right now."
Pull up a picture of
Yeah.
Rigby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is his head.
Yeah,
and this is his neck. If we keep moving down,
And sometimes
There is-
when he opens his mouth, his eyes are still on this side.
yeah.
There's some really, like, creepy stuff, though. Like, Adventure Time, holy crap, had a lot of
Adventure
stuff.
Time was a lot.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Adventure Time was, like, remolded cartoons for a while there, too. It started a brand new generation of animators and whatnot. But, I mean, like, I really haven't seen that much of Rick and Morty.
I don't know if
Like, I look up pictures for Rick and Morty all the time because I
Mhm.
love fan art. But I really don't see nothing
you don't see a
gross.
whole lot of erotic.
If anything, like, not even Summer,
No, not even some.
which is interesting.
I think
That's
that
a
that
good
entire
thing.
show, I think the internet might think is sacred, which is an impressive thing, to be perfectly
Because
honest.
there's nothing sacred in the
There's
show.
nothing sacred. But I think it's just because it's so self-aware and so for the people
Yeah,
that would make that fan art
yeah,
that I think they respect it too much.
yeah, I think they do.
I don't know.
Knock on wood.
It sounds weird to just openly admit how much about like Rule 34 porn that I know. But like, I'm going to be honest with you. Like, I'm aware of internet trends.
Yeah.
I'll just say it like that. I'm aware of what's big on the internet right now. Like, Overwatch porn. Holy shit. The
I don't
past
play Overwatch.
2 years.
If you type in Overwatch, you're gonna get porn.
Yes, that's guaranteed.
We were talking about how respect.
Sorry about that. Sam couldn't hold it. All right, we were talking about porn. And I try and remember what we were specifically talking. Oh yeah, about how I follow internet trends and how I know what porn is big at what current moment.
You don't just follow it to whack off later in your.
That's
office.
only sometimes. You know,
Fine.
it's
If he's
But-
looking
look.
at it and something pops up,
my job. Look, my habits, my internet habits, just make me aware. What's happening right now?
Sound of you whacking.
So
off
yeah, I
around.
figured with how popular Rick and Morty is, that there would be a lot more porn of it.
Well, apparently, a lot of people who actually enjoy Rick and Morty. I guess I haven't seen it personally, but like all fandoms, like people are getting shit on for liking Rick and Morty. Like it makes you like a bad person or
Mhm.
something, which I can kind of see. But at the same time, it's just like I haven't really. All my friends that I know, everybody I talk to about Rick and Morty is like super cool.
Aw,
But-
thanks, Sam.
Well, yeah, of course.
Aw, guys, Sam thinks I'm cool.
Don't
existence
fucking
is pain.
push it. Jeez. I can't let you know that you're actually cool because then you get all egotistical.
his head
Guys.
swells up.
She said it again.
This is why Conan and I watch Batman and Harley Quinn without
I'm so
you.
fucking pissed off. I can't even express it. Okay, for everybody
Is
listening at
Ivan
home,
back from
here's what
his
just
trip?
fucking happened. We made plans. We were all the three are gonna watch the new Batman animated movies. Batman and Harley Quinn just came out like a month ago. Conan has it. We were gonna sit down and watch it, and for whatever reason, we couldn't the day we were gonna, as because one of us was busy or something. Don't you fucking say anything. Let me finish this story, Conan. And then I'm sitting here home, or I'm just out doing something random, and then I get a text from Sam that says something completely nonchalant, and then I give her a little bit of sass. A little kind of, just a tiny bit of Sean-esque sass.
I'm like, fine.
Classic Sean. And she's like, well, fuck you. We're already watching Batman and Harley Quinn before I had given you the sass, which means that was a premeditated...
No, you gave me the sass.
No, that was a premeditated film viewing.
I was waiting to watch it, and we never got a chance, and I was...
And you just happen to hang out with Sam without any regard to how that's going to affect Sean's self-esteem. Fuck you guys. I still haven't watched it. I bet you didn't even bring it today.
I didn't.
Yeah. Fuck you guys. Fucking angry because of it. Like, it's a little funny. Like, the story is a little funny. But, like, genuinely, fuck you guys.
Drunk. Are you at least drunk with somebody? This is the text.
Oh, yeah, no.
I mean,
Hold
my
on.
mom.
Start that over.
haha.
Tell who's saying who. Do this right.
Sean, drunk. Me. Are you at least drunk with
For the
somebody?
record, I was drunk as fuck.
Sean, I mean, my mom. Haha. We're at Oktoberfest. You went to Oktoberfest. Oh. We're watching Batman and Harley, boy. Fuck you guys! Exclamation point from Sean. Post picture of Conan and I flipping the camera off watching a movie.
They literally flipped me off.
Wait. I wasn't. You were at Oktoberfest?
I was at Oktoberfest.
Well, fuck you.
Why didn't you come?
Because I was at work.
Well, fuck you. Man, I feel like the dynamic of this relationship has
And you
changed.
know how this actually went down with Conan and I? He's just like, dude, I really need some pho. Like, the noodles, the Vietnamese noodles. I'm like, okay. He's like, I'll pay for dinner, let's just go. And then we're sitting there, eating, and we start talking about Pokemon, and then we start talking about Batman, and then I'm just like, you know, I know we haven't watched Batman and Harley Quinn, and then Conan just looks at me, he's like, I was gonna ask you if you wanted to watch it tonight, I'm through waiting, I'm like, okay.
Alright. Ivan, you're back from vacation. I have a job for you.
Does it go by
Ivan,
myself?
I want you to take a picture of Sam. Cool, thank you. And I want you to do whatever you want to it, Ivan. You know, you've heard both sides of the story. I need you to choose a side right now. Ivan, why would you... That's not cool, man.
Why would you do that? Ivan,
Why?
what the fuck? Sean's still my friend.
Yeah, that's not... Okay. Well, Ivan's fired.
Replace him with somebody hotter.
Replace him with his brother, Ivan.
Ivan
Just
with
gonna
a...
cycle through
No,
Ivans.
it's even. Replace him with his
Ivan
brother,
and Even.
Ivan and even.
And then his American cousin,
Dave.
Steven.
His American cousin's Dave.
Anyway, back to Rick and Morty. I'm so happy we can finally sit and talk about it. It's such a good show. It's responsible for just so much enjoyment.
I love
memes.
Justin Roiland.
The memes from it.
Yeah,
So many.
it's so self-aware and
So-
just amazing.
I've got a bit of a question. Who do you guys think Evil Morty actually is?
I think because
So let's
Like,
go
if he's the
into
original
this.
Morty or...
Yeah, there's several
There's,
theories going around about
well-
who he is, where he's from.
I don't think it's C-137.
No.
I don't think it's that. Unless the C-137 Morty that we know is not actually C-137 Morty.
Is he clone Morty?
Well, he'd be like a clone or something like that. And there's just two C-137 Mortys.
Or maybe
but
Rick,
I don't think that's the case.
or Rick might be lying and saying that his number is C-137 when in reality, because he's obviously switched worlds before, switched dimensions before. Maybe he's taken over or left another world before he and Morty
Mhm.
left the Cronenberg planet.
Maybe.
So there's an idea going around that Evil Morty is Rick's original Morty.
I have heard that. That I think is more
I
likely.
think it's the most common theory.
Yeah.
That's the most common theory, and Justin Roiland and Dan Harmon especially are really good at kind of like making you think something and then throwing you through a loop.
Hmm. Yeah, I think, yeah. Because C-137 Rick may not be C-137
Yeah.
Rick.
Oh, yeah.
Or maybe he is, and Morty thinks he's C-137,
Right,
but
exactly.
he's not.
A whole lot of deceptions could be there.
Yeah, because if you look, okay, so Rick left for what, 16 years?
Yeah,
20
something like
years?
that,
20
yeah.
years. He left like 20 years. He left, I think, just after Summer was born?
Mhm.
Or something like that. So he left, and then he came back 20 years later, but we have seen memories of Rick where he's holding a
Beth.
baby Morty.
Oh, that's right.
Baby
yeah.
Morty,
Mhm.
yeah. And then we have that picture in Bird Person's house where he's holding a baby
Bird Person.
Morty and poor
I take
Morty is
everything back.
crying.
Bird Person is my favorite character.
Bird person is amazing.
In bird culture, that is considered a dick
Mhm.
move.
It has been a difficult mating season for Bird Person.
What about
That's Dan
Squanchy?
Harmon voices him too.
Squanchy.
Yeah.
Squanchy's good. I do love Squanchy.
Tim.
But and also they have the whole Phoenix person storyline they haven't even touched yet,
Yeah.
which was teased at the end of season 2. I think it was season 2. Yeah, because he dies at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Gosh.
and then he's brought back
Something.
Phoenix person.
So
Really, we're going with Phoenix person?
I think that's the joke.
Yeah.
I think that we're gonna get a lot more middle of season 3 and then season 4, because like the first 2 or 3 seasons usually of a show, especially something that's this complex, are usually set up.
Yeah.
So a lot of shit, when shit finally goes down, it's gonna be a lot of shit really fast.
Mhm.
And then nobody is gonna be happy when they finally cut the season off.
No,
'Cause it's gonna be worse than like season 2 where we're left with Rick.
Yeah, just
left.
Mr. Poopy Buttle though. Ooh wee, how are we gonna dig ourselves out of this one?
At least this one, at least this season, I'm not like fucking pissed off. Like fuck you, Mr. Poopy.
There's no like
Butthole.
super huge cliffhanger.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah,
Mr.
that
Poopy
was
Butthole. Like woo wee, it's gonna see you in a long time.
I do like the ending of season 1 where Rick is just like, let's roll the credits. Yeah, blah, 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 that's the end of season 1. We're done, Red.
That's another thing. Not just Rick, but we have several characters breaking the fourth wall this time. Like Beth breaks the fourth wall. Morty breaks the fourth wall. I think Summer does too.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I think
And
that's just a trademark of the show.
There's like there's a theory that's like, oh, everybody's in a television show. They all know they're in a television show. Rick knows he's in a television show. I don't think it's that. I think it's just fucking fun. Like they're just like, yeah. Because can you imagine being this invested in a show and have like the big plot, like the big idea, just be they're in a television show and they know it.
Honestly,
Haha.
if that does happen, it'll be a one-off joke in the middle of an episode.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It'll
Well, because he
happen.
does that a lot, like
Interdimensional cable.
Interdimensional Cable too. The where he like breaks the box and the woman's just like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "A sequel? What are you talking about?" Yeah, I know. I thought we nailed this the first time.
Gosh.
But I think they'll just be little jokes like that. I don't think
Yeah.
it'll be a major plot point. I don't think they would.
No, I don't think that they would do something like that. This show is too.
It's too smart.
It's too smart to do something like that. Where some people, it's definitely gonna give us some time to think. It's gonna be too smart for most of us to really figure out.
You know,
in
there-
the first
there
2
will come a
seasons,
point.
3 seasons.
When we reach peak Rick and Morty, where like the intellectual level will have to plateau, otherwise like nobody's gonna get it.
And then like when everybody plateaus, the actual joke is like way down here at Jerry level.
Exactly. That's how they're gonna do it.
We're gonna whirly dirly this.
I did see
Fuck.
one theory though that the evil Morty is, in the opening credits, when you see Rick and Morty running,
Yes.
that he is the Morty that got left there with those like frog monsters.
Yes, I've heard that as
Oh,
well.
that's depressing.
Mhm.
Because you don't see him get eaten
Mm.
or anything. So
There's kind of an interesting idea with Doofus Rick.
Yes.
That even though they say he didn't have children, what if somehow that Rick is Evil Clone's Morty?
Or what if-
Rick? But
What if stupid
Doofus Rick.
Doofus Rick gave birth to a Morty and the Morty grew up to be Jerry?
I don't know. Fucking Jerry. Can we just
Is
fucking rip on
multi-dimensional incest a thing?
what if
Jerry? Yes.
evil
Remember
Morty,
with Tommy?
But that's not multi-dimensional. That's what I'm talking about. So like, Rick has a son, or Rick has a daughter in one dimension. Rick has a son in another dimension. Those dimensions cross over and they get married. Is that incest?
Yes.
Is it?
Because it's the same father.
I guess. But it's multi-dimensional. Ooh.
Anyway, Conan.
what if evil Morty and Doofus Rick are a pair, but evil Morty has Rick's mind in him now instead?
That's what I was kind of thinking. But I couldn't
And they've shown,
afford it.
they've shown that technology before.
Yeah, like they've switched.
That's quite possible.
Because they showed that
That's how Rick
technology
got
in
out
the
of
same
prison.
episode.
Yeah.
There's also an idea that the mega seeds from the first episode ever is what actually makes Rick intelligent. Not saying he's not already, but it
Yeah,
like
a bunch of them
really,
shoved up in there still.
yeah. You just shove it way up
Way
your
up in
ass
there.
with Grandpa. That was actually something else that was really cute. I noticed this season is that Rick is more open, like to saying, "Hey, it's Grandpa. I'm here for you. It's Grandpa Morty."
Grandpa's love for you is fleeting.
There's that too. Whereas, like in the first episode, like they just say, like Morty's calling Rick Rick, not Grandpa, which is something that doesn't usually happen. And then we find out like halfway through the episode it's his grandpa. We're like, oh, okay, this makes more sense.
I'm so excited for them to see where it's gonna go. To be honest, I genuinely like. I'm usually not super excited when a show, like when a season ends.
Yeah.
For the next season.
Most people usually are excited when the season ends.
Well, that's the thing, I mean, like, now that I've seen, they've kind of hit a reset button on Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
Where now it's kind of going back to how it was in the first season. I'm excited to see what they do with it. I'm really excited for season 4.
But Morty's got more knowledge this time around,
Yep.
too.
Yeah.
So,
and Morty doesn't put up with the shit anymore.
So Rick's gonna definitely be the outcast again, but even more so. I think he looks a lot more emotionally distant.
I think season 4, Rick's going to be the antagonist. I'm going to be perfectly honest.
That would be interesting.
I think Rick is actually going to be the bad guy. And, like, now that Morty knows he's the bad guy, because that's what Morty learns, I think, in season 3, is Rick is the bad guy.
I'm the bad guy.
But the thing is, Rick lacks the empathy that Morty has.
Well, that's the thing. It's not that he's evil. He just has he's indifferent. He's indifferent towards good and evil.
What he considered toxins back, though.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Because he needs that.
Yeah.
And I was kind of thinking about that, too, because I missed that first episode with the toxins. And then, what was it? I was watching the one with the Mortys, all the Mortys and stuff like that. It's Morty, if he had Rick's balls, he'd be fucking terrifying.
And I think that's what Evil Morty is.
Yeah.
I think
he's got more of Rick's.
So I'm excited to see where they go. They've got Evil Morty going. They've got Rick's new place in the family. They've got Phoenix Person. They got all these storylines going.
I think that they're going to bring back
Jessica
What's-Her-Face.
seems to be warming up a bit more to Morty.
Jessica.
Dem titties.
Dude, Jessica, like...
kind of hope that
again, not super into cartoon characters. There's a couple of exceptions. Jessica, though.
I call them my little Mortys.
Oh.
Don't you just want to squish them?
That is an amazing Jessica.
Wow.
I'm not gonna lie.
I like to do improv. That's not that great. That was my first time ever doing Jessica.
That was really good.
I call them my little Mortys.
Oh,
Jessica's got an interesting
God.
voice. Like, her voice changes depending on, like, what mood she's in.
Yeah.
I want you to rip my clothes off and mate with me for life.
Oh my God.
Let's just talk about that episode a little bit.
Rick Potion 419 or whatever it is.
When the girls are standing there talking to each other.
Oh. Have you ever been, like, peed on?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh.
Penis.
I'm talking penis
Oh,
and the foreskin type love.
Oh my God.
Yes, that's so amazing.
And then like,
That took me a second to really register.
Have
like,
you
what
ever
is
been
penis?
peed on?
and then like, and then there's another one where like one of the chicks just like, yeah, I'll try bukkake. I'll try anything once. Or something like that.
And then you remember, it's like these chicks are like 16 years old, and then I go back to my high school days, and I'm like,
oh my God.
gosh, those girls were sluts.
I just reminded myself of a story. You don't know crippling anxiety until you're playing Cards Against Humanity with your mother, and she doesn't understand what her card means, and she hands it to you and asks you to explain it to her, and the card is pixelated bukkake.
I understand the bukkake part. What's the pixelated?
Pixelated is low resolution. Low resolution. Yeah, I had to explain what that was to my mother!
No, I had to do that a couple of times. I was playing with my mom, my sister, her boyfriend, and my grandfather, who just recently passed away. My grandpa almost fucking won! But then I pulled out the Auschwitz and Jewish
Auschwitz is a
card.
winner.
Yeah, something in the Auschwitz card, and it was just like, oh, I'm a terrible
We
person.
should play Cards Against Humanity on the show once.
We should.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
I'd enjoy that.
If you guys would like that, go ahead and give me a like!
Oh my God.
Please?
1,000 likes.
People don't like us that much.
1 million.
Can I get, like, just
Likes.
2 likes?
1 likes.
That isn't Conan or Sean or I.
I don't like it.
I don't like my own.
I don't like my own videos. I'm not a fucking weirdo.
I like
don't
the
either.
videos.
Well, we appreciate it.
I like this guy with the deep voice.
You're doing God's work.
He believes in Thor and Odin, thank you?
Yeah. I didn't specify which god.
Doing Odin's work.
I need to name a child Thor.
Yeah.
There you go.
Thor and Loki?
Yeah.
Yeah. I
And
love it.
Tyr.
Yeah.
Loki should be the adopted kid you don't tell he's adopted.
Just get a black kid. Adopt a black kid. Name him Loki.
Balder.
Give him a gate.
Name him Heimdall.
No. Baldur's Gate.
Oh yeah.
Maybe this...
I was referring to a different Balder, but yes.
You know, this is going to make me sound like a terrible person, but...
I'm just a different kind of person than you are. Go ahead, Sam. I'm sorry.
If I were going to have a daughter, I'd be really worried, like, what if she's hotter than I was in high school?
Wow. That is some self-obsessed, conceited shit right there.
Yeah.
I
also just get worried.
I hope my son is hotter than I was in high school.
Well, I just get worried because I know what a lot of those girls were doing at my high school, and I'm just like, no.
So, raise your child correctly,
Yeah,
Sam.
True.
Let her be pretty and just raise her correctly.
True.
Fucking hell, man.
Teenage
We'll
girls,
condemn her to a life of nobody loving her.
teenage girls
'cause you
don't
don't
go
want her
through
to-
that awkward looking period anymore.
They really don't, which is kind of scary.
Like,
What do you mean?
like the
They're
awkward,
wearing fucking makeup at, like,
preteen,
13.
They don't know what they're doing with their
Oh,
makeup or how to
yeah.
really,
No.
what their
Well, it's
fashion
because they
is.
have the internet now.
But
Yeah.
but now it's like that girl's 12.
Dude, that's how I fucking feel about Ariana Grande.
How old is she?
Dude,
yeah.
I don't fucking know. She's like in
She
her
looks
20s.
younger.
She's like in her 20s at least. She looks like a sexualized 12-year-old. That's exactly
bit,
what
yeah.
she looks like.
You cannot tell anymore.
She doesn't have laugh
It's really hard to tell if they're like you could be 12, you could be 25.
Well, that is why
Some of
I
those-
don't talk to people.
Some of those girls know how to stuff their bras better and make them look more real than like me and just like a straight up push up.
This conversation is making me uncomfortable. I'm afraid to say anything. Like, I'm afraid to be like, and don't take this out of context. Yeah, fucking 12-year-olds are hot. Am I right? I'm afraid to like go down this road with you guys.
No,
Like I've said-
I'm not saying that. It's just like there's some of them that just look older than what they should be, and it's just like
Yes, that I agree with. There, well, and I think it's because like makeup tutorials are really big on YouTube right
Yeah.
now, and you know, and now our generation, which is a much more liberal, free-thinking, go with the flow, free-spirited kind of generation, is now having kids and are raising
Yeah.
kids that way.
And like honestly, I think that like should we like pop out a kid anytime soon? Which
Not
I'm
you-
not.
not you
You're
and
not.
I.
No.
We
Well,
are
I don't know what Conan
Sam,
does.
you and I are not going to.
No. I mean like
You
as a
looked at me
rule.
and said, "Should we pop out a kid?" And I'm like,
No.
no.
I said, should we end up like any one of us popping out a kid? I'm pretty sure like by the time that kid goes into high school, like even the boys are going to
Like,
start wearing makeup and being prettier than their
if we're gonna
fathers.
if we're gonna speak in onomatopoeias, I think you are the only one among us who could pop out a kid.
Unless one fully form comes out of my head like Zeus.
You just have a vestigial twin just pop out of your shoulder or something like
I'm a tumor. I'm a tumor.
that.
I'm a tumor. I'm a tumor. No, I'm a child. I don't know why the child
Dude,
suddenly got so weird.
asexual reproduction in humans would be hilarious. I'm just gonna say it. I know we're all thinking it. I'm just gonna say it.
Well, I guess women don't actually need like the man's sperm. I guess that they're able to do it with like the bone marrow of
Yeah.
another person. But I mean, that's way harder than
Well, that's
a
artificial.
penis
You
and
can
a
artificially inseminate an egg.
vagina. Yeah, we don't need to.
I've never look honestly. As far as having children goes, guys get to do the fun part.
Yeah.
And then, like, y'all got to deal with that other shit that I am so envious of.
Yeah. So if any of you have kids out there, bring a man over here. Ladies, you did like the baby holding and like going through all the bad shit and then pushing that kid out. Husbands, change the fucking diapers.
Well, I mean, that should just go without saying.
Yeah.
Be a responsible parent should be. I think, like I've said, every episode has a moral, and I didn't think that our Rick and Morty episode was going to end with the moral, be a responsible parent. But here we are.
I mean, it kind of works. Like, look how irresponsible Jerry and Beth were, and look how Summer turned out.
Well, exactly. Now she's gonna go do something with turquoise.
Yeah, she is.
Hey.
And her weird little
She
booty
joined
shorts.
a post-apocalyptic gang,
She did.
and it was amazing.
Oh my god! And there was the guy with the bucket on his head, but he had a mustache. Wonderful, wonderful. I love it.
And then the other Summer who's left in the other dimension who's actually like
She
a
got
major
jacked.
badass. Yeah, she got fucking jacked. The Ripper almost. Fuck, I would be terrified of running into that Summer in like a dark alley. It's like, I'm not in any
because
affiliation
if you were
with
there, you'd
no,
probably
right.
be Cronenberged.
Yeah, that too.
Be bad. Well, happy 12th episode, everybody. I'm excited we could finally sit down, have an educated discussion about a TV cartoon.
Huzzah.
Going back with the moral, also don't have sex with animals and then, eat your children after they have babies.
Don't tell me how to live my life. And on that, everybody, good night, everybody.
Good night.
Night.